Hi, it's Zora here again today, and I'm back with another part for the arrival. I thought that it might be interesting to do a short video and show how there is some careful consideration placed into selection of minor instruments for small parts of some of the songs, such as the last song has small parts where there's an oboe. And I did take some time to select and work with that a little bit. So for the video today, I'm going to go in and we're going to take a look at the editor. We're going to pull up the instrument in the module, and then I'll play around with that a little bit, and I'll play the short part of the song where the oboe will be. And of course you'll be able to hear that, and if you hear the finished song, you'll pretty much hear what I'm going to play in this video and when you see me put that in. But first I'm making yerba mate, and I'm going to infuse that. I have a scoop. I'm going to put that into the teapot. And yerba mate is one of my favorite things to brew because it does have a mildly stimulating effect. It has a somewhat low caffeine content, and so it doesn't have a real hard kick to it for me. For some people, if you're not too sensitive to caffeine, it may not really do that much for you, but I find it to be fairly energizing. So I'm going to go ahead and make that, and that'll get me off to a nice, slow, smooth start. And then we'll go ahead and we'll do the oboe parts. And then I'll come back and we'll call it a day. Okay, and we're here in the editor, and I'm going to focus in on the oboe since that is the instrument of interest. The one that I've selected is a massive module instrument, and I like the preset sound that it has. And just looking at the module, it looks like it uses 2 oscillators. The third one's not used. It's got a couple of filters, and there's some other controls. So there's a good bit of things that can be done just to make adjustments if you know what you're looking for. You can lower the cutoff frequency, and it sounds like it's more in the distance. But I like how the preset sound is, so I'm not going to tweak it very much. And what I'll do next is just go ahead and I'll do a little bit of solo with the oboe just so you can hear how it sounds by itself. And then I'll go to the last song, which has an oboe part for the song. And I'll go ahead and play that part, and I'll play in the oboe for that. Okay, so now we've heard the oboe instrument solo, and I played around with that, and I've loaded up the last song that I'm finishing up, and we're going to take a look at that. I've got a full percussion set of 16 different instruments here. That's fun, but we're not worrying about that today. So we're going to find the oboe patch here and select that. These are the different instruments on this set. And early in the song, it's strings, some bells, an E-piano, and these pads will flicker as the notes are triggered. And then I'm going to be adding in the oboe part live, and we'll go over 4 measures in the song. And the oboe appears in the 2nd and 4th measure. And I'll go ahead and let it play an extra measure at the end of that, it'll go into where the percussion starts up, and that begins a transition further into the song. And I'll stop there. So I've got the oboe queued up here. There it is. And I'll go ahead and start, and then when it gets into the second measure, then I'll key it in and we'll go from there. And then there's the percussion set coming in. And we'll just stop it there. And then the oboe does appear a couple of times briefly later in the song. And I'll be doing that separately. Well, that's going to be all for Oboe on the Arrival. Perhaps on some other occasion, I'll take the opportunity to use more woodwinds and orchestral type instruments. But for this style of this project, that's about the extent of it. So I hope you found it interesting, and thanks for coming, and have a good night.